Parmesan cheese. Top it off with basil. Quick, easy, delicious recipe. I paired it up with your focaccia so you can make ahead and serve it together. Hi, my name is Anna. I've been baking for the past 20 years. I've developed a passion for baking from my Italian parents. So join me for some delicious, quick, authentic recipes. I have hundreds to choose from and to share with you. So whether you're just starting out or have an interest in baking, follow me and we'll get inspired. Benvenuti, welcome. Today we're making pasta pomodoro con ricotta, which is a tomato pasta. So for this recipe, you'll need cherry tomatoes, olive oil, white wine, basil, ricotta cheese, Parmesan cheese, salt, paprika, and garlic, and of course pasta. I'll have the full recipe at the end. Okay, so we're gonna start by crushing our garlic. And I've got quite a few here because you really want the garlic taste. And just get the back of your knife and just kind of give it a tap. And just, you don't want it minced, but just enough that flavor, the garlic flavor comes right through. There we go. So we're gonna saute these with your tomatoes. Start by adding a bit of olive oil to your pan. Now you don't have to use a saucepan. You could also do this in a really nice large casserole and just put everything together, and it works so nicely in the oven. You don't want to burn the garlic, you just want the flavor. So then we add our tomatoes. Of course, your salt. And paprika. So you want to cook this down just a little bit before you add your white wine. So we're going to add some basil to this, and you just have to break it up, and that's okay if they're large pieces. You want the cherry tomatoes to be soft, but you don't want them all pureed. And we're going to add our white wine to this. Now you're going to cook this down, and we'll give it a few minutes. So now we're going to add our ricotta cheese. This way it can cook together. So colorful. There we go. Look at that. Beautiful. We'll lower that down, let it simmer a bit. Okay, so our tomatoes are ready. We have a pot of water to boil, ready for our pasta, and just add some salt. Okay, our water's ready for our pasta. Give that a stir. So we'll let this cook for 12 minutes. Okay, so our pasta is ready. There we go. Okay, so our pasta's ready, our tomatoes are ready, and you just pour it right over top. Get all that goodness out. There we go. And what I've done is you want to go ahead and save some of your water, pasta water, and just pour just a little and just toss it. Look how beautiful that is. Parmesan cheese. I like a fair amount. This is such a quick, easy recipe to make. And if you want more ricotta cheese, you could definitely add more on top. And then of course you want to add some more Parmigiano. Then I love basil, so we're just gonna top it off with basil. Like that, looks gorgeous. There we go. quick, easy, delicious recipe. I paired it up with your focaccia so you can make ahead and serve it together. So if you enjoyed this recipe, like and subscribe. Your support is encouraging. Some more sauce on top and a basil leaf. It smells delicious. So let's give this a try. Delicious. Definitely you could taste the breadcrumbs, adds a nice crunch, and the flavors with the peas and the bechamel sauce. Definitely you must try this at home. Benvenuti. Today we're making pasta al forno. It is an Italian dish that's almost like a lasagna. It has your pasta with your ragu, meat sauce, and white sauce as well. So for this recipe, you will need strained tomatoes, ground beef, basil, onions, celery, carrots, breadcrumbs, salt, peas, and Parmesan cheese. And also for your white sauce, you will need milk, butter, and flour. I will have the full recipe at the end. So we're going to start by making our white sauce. Okay, we're going to melt our butter at low heat. I always like making my white sauce and then set it aside because your tomato sauce, your meat sauce, takes a little longer. So we want that all ready to go when we're ready to assemble your pasta forno. So now we're going to add our flour. Depending on the thickness of your white sauce, you can adjust the flour as well. So just incorporate all that. Make sure there's no lumps. Just increase just so slightly. And then we're going to add our milk. There, just increase the heat. You want to bring this to just a rolling boil. Add a 1/4 teaspoon of salt. And of course, it's to taste. So if you want a bit more salty, you can add more. So your bechamel is ready. Probably take about 5 to 6 minutes at a low heat. There we go. And we'll set this aside. Okay, we're going to start by sauteing our vegetables here, adding our olive oil, and we're going to add our onions, celery, carrots, of course your garlic. I'm going to lower that temperature. So we'll saute these for a couple of minutes. You want to incorporate all the flavors. And then we're going to add our ground beef. And we'll just brown that. You could add some salt if you like. So we've got our ground beef with our vegetables. Now we're going to add our peas in there. So you want to cook all the flavors together. So now we're going to add our white wine. And we're going to let this cook for about 5 minutes to get all the flavors all together. Oh, that smells good already. Okay, so now we're going to add our tomatoes. I'm going to give that a stir. Okay, that looks so good. So if you like, this is where I go and I add about another cup of water to this so it's not so thick, because once it cooks, it's going to reduce some more. I'm going to add some basil leaves. You don't have to chop them up, so you could just kind of break them up and throw them in there. Oh, it smells so beautiful. Love the smell of basil. So we're gonna let that simmer for about an hour and then we'll be back. A bit of salt. Our sauce is ready. Look at that. Just beautiful. Smells so delicious. Now we're gonna put our water to boil for our pasta. Okay, our water is ready for our pasta. 11 minutes. Okay, our pasta is ready. Okay, so now we're going to butter our pan and then we're going to make sure we coat it all with breadcrumbs. Okay, so we grab our softened butter. Make sure every corner has butter. You can use any tray pan you like. I went with a takeout. This way you can make it and bring it to a friend's, a potluck, whatever you have planned. So it works really well. You put a good amount. So once it's all buttered, you get your breadcrumbs. If you want, just put a smaller dish underneath. This way you kind of lessen the mess. There we go. All ready for your pasta. You know, it adds some crunch to it as well. And of course, easy to release your pasta. So it's a little bit different than lasagna. The same almost kind of method, but not quite so. You're gonna, in between, put mozzarella cheese and white sauce. There we go. So what we're going to do is we're going to add our sauce to your pasta. So you want to dress all your pasta. You can smell the vegetables with the wine. And I was going to mention you could also use red wine if you wanted to. That's also a good idea as well. So then I'm going to add some Parmesan cheese. I'm just going to mix. So you want to make it nice and saucy. You want to add lots of sauce to this. And a little bit different than your lasagna, you're going to mix your white sauce right in there. Nice and creamy. I'm going to add some more red sauce. Go ahead, add more Parmesan cheese. That smells so good. And if you didn't want to rebake this, you don't have to, but pasta forno is, you know, like a twice bake lasagna. Add quite a bit of sauce because once it bakes in the oven, you want them all the flavors and the sauce. You don't want to dry out your pasta forno. So now we have a tray. So we're going to put our pasta right inside. And this is really nice to make ahead a few days. It keeps well in the fridge, and also you can bake it just before you're going to serve it. That's also another idea. So I'm going to kind of fill it halfway. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to add some bechamel sauce, your white sauce, in the middle. There we go. And of course, you're going to add your cheese. You could shred your cheese if you like. I decided to slice mine. Then you're going to sprinkle some Parmesan cheese on top. Add some more sauce. So this is a real hearty meal. And you're gonna add your pasta. Make sure it's all even. Perfect. So we're gonna add some bechamel sauce again. Now another thing I do is, of course, I'm gonna add actually breadcrumbs. Because you know what? I like the crunch on top. Then I'm gonna just drizzle some olive oil. Just a little, not a lot. There we go, and we're gonna finish it off with Parmesan cheese. Okay, so now we're gonna add some cheese on top. And just little pieces of here and there. We're gonna bake this for about 20 minutes. We'll put 20 and we'll check it. Perfect. Okay, well, our pasta forno is ready. It looks delicious, it smells amazing. So let's give it a try. Oh wow, look at that. When you're serving it, you can serve it as is, or if you wanted, you could add some more sauce on top. And we're gonna put a basil leaf. Look at that. You can really see the flavors of the sauce and the bechamel sauce as well. It smells delicious. Okay, so let's give this a try. Delicious. Definitely you could taste the breadcrumbs, adds a nice crunch, and the flavors with the peas and the bechamel sauce. Definitely you must try this at home. So if you enjoyed this recipe, like and subscribe. Your support is encouraging. Look at that, nice and soft. The flavors, the Parmesan cheese, the cream. You can go ahead and use whipping cream if you like. I just wanted to use something a little lighter. Benvenuti. Today we're making gnocchi in a creamy mushroom sauce. For this recipe, you'll need potatoes, flour, butter, salt, eggs, garlic, Parmesan cheese, mushroom, and cream. I'll have the full recipe at the end. So we're going to begin, and I have some potatoes that are already cooked. What I did with my potatoes is I put them in the oven, but you could definitely boil them. So we're going to start by putting your eggs in your potato, and you'll add your flour. I'm going to mix it in the bowl, and then I'm going to turn it over on the table. Gnocchis are so delicious. They just take a little bit of time to make, but you know, they're a lot of fun. I'm just gonna mix it a bit more here. Now I'm gonna put my gloves on so I don't get all sticky here. So I'm gonna put my potato and flour on the table. You wanna get it all smooth. You could add some more flour. Bit at a time. You can mash your potatoes with a fork, or you can put it through a potato masher just to get it nice and fine. See, it's just a little bit more sticky. I'm adding a bit of flour at a time because I don't want my pasta to be too hard. Kind of feel it spongy. There we go, all ready. I'm gonna flour my surface. Okay. I'm gonna cut off a section. I'm gonna roll it out, and of course, put some more flour. And it all depends how thick you want your gnocchis. I'm gonna get it to a consistency here. There we go. So I've got my pasta rolled out and I'm just gonna cut the size I want. Make them bigger, smaller. Make sure you flour your surface, otherwise they'll stick. Then you can use the back of your fork. We'll just put some flour on your fork. But I also have a gnocchi paddle, and you could find them in the Italian store. But I have this one that I got from my parents, so I'm going to use that one. And on a baking sheet, you're going to put either flour or cornmeal or semolina so the pasta, the gnocchi doesn't stick. And all you do is grab your pasta and roll it to get that nice design. I like a hearty pasta, so I made mine a little bit thicker. Almost like a little pillow. There we go. It's just, you know what, you can make it ahead of time. This way, because this is the most work, is just rolling your gnocchi. So I wanted to show you, if you roll your gnocchi on the side that you cut the edge, you're going to get a longer pasta, right? But I'm going to actually roll it on the smoother surface because I want to get that pillow. Okay, definitely make it ahead of time. You can put it in the fridge. So this is another activity you can do with your family, and everybody could have their own pasta. So if you use the back of your fork again, you're going to roll it. I find it easier on my paddle, but definitely you can roll it this way on the fork. Good thing about having the paddle is you could start on top and just work your way down. Keep rolling to get your nice ridges on it, the lines. And they actually don't take very long when you boil them. So if you have a fresh sauce, I'm using the cream sauce today, but you could definitely use a ragu. That's also nice. You could do just a red basil sauce as well. There you go. Perfect. You know, a lot of people play board games. I will play in my kitchen with dough, coming up with new recipes. It's one of my favorite pastas, and I have many favorites. But I like a hearty pasta. So gnocchis, raviolis, penne, they're very hearty. So now we have a pot of water. We're gonna bring it to a boil and add your salt to it. You could always season at the end, but I always like to add a bit of salt in my water. So while we're waiting for our water to boil, we're going to start with the sauce. We're going to chop our mushrooms. And just slicing them this way is fine because they'll reduce while you cook them. Once your gnocchis are ready to go in the water, sauce is really easy to put together. And you want to make the sauce as fresh as possible. And this way you can top it over your gnocchis. Then I have some fresh garlic here that you can chop, but I'm going to use my grater just to zest it. A really good way to have small pieces, but just make sure you don't grate your fingers. And you get actually a better, robust flavor, beef flavor. There you go. And then the rest, I'll just do one mince that way, and then the other ones we'll just chop. Because you want a really nice garlicky flavor. You don't have to make it too fine because you still want to taste it. There we go. So our water is boiling. Make sure you season your water. I'm going to drop a few at a time. And once they surface, they are ready. So you don't want to put too many in there because you want to be able to have them all cook evenly. So you may have to boil them in 3 sections, but we'll wait for them to float to the surface. I'm going to go ahead and grate some Parmesan so I can mix in my cream sauce. There we go. Just put a bit of olive oil. So first batch is ready. Okay, they're ready. Look at that. What's really nice making your own gnocchis is you can drop the larger ones. So you can kind of hand pick them because you know how you get many sizes, but you could hand pick really quickly. This way they all cook evenly. Make sure they don't stick at the bottom. Perfect. One more and we're done. Okay. Perfect. Butter in here. And lower that for a bit because we want to melt it. We don't want to be too high. We want to melt the butter. We don't want to burn the butter. So just nice and slow. So I'm going to increase the temperature because I want to cook down the mushrooms. Salt to season it. Once they cook down a bit, I'm going to add the garlic. So I want the flavor, but I don't want to burn the garlic. Lower that and add my garlic in here. You can toss any vegetable that you like to go along with your gnocchis, but I think the mushroom cream sauce is a really nice combination. And I'm going to use cream. A lot of times you can use whipping cream to make your Alfredo sauce, but I'm using cream. I find it less rich. Once they cook together, then we're going to add the Parmesan cheese. Give that a few minutes. Okay, so now we're going to add Parmesan cheese. Lower the temperature. So I'm going to add a bit of flour to this. Just want it a little bit thicker, but not too thick. So see, it's just changing a little bit. There we go. Okay, so our sauce is ready. And we're going to add it right to the gnocchi. So gnocchis are ready. We're going to finish off with some fresh Parmesan cheese. Smells so good. There you have it. And I have some basil. I'm going to just top on top. There we go. There you have it. The gnocchis are all ready in the cream mushroom sauce. Pretty simple. Like I said, I used cream. You can use whipping cream. I like it less rich. Let's give this a try. Look at that, it's nice and soft. You can really smell the garlic and Parmesan cheese. That's very nice, very soft, very pillowy. The flavors, the Parmesan cheese, the cream. You can go ahead and use whipping cream if you like. I just wanted to use something a little lighter. So like and subscribe and let me know how you enjoyed this recipe. Black pepper, more Parmigiano. So let's give this a try. So creamy. You could really taste the Parmigiano and your pasta is al dente. Hi, benvenuti. Today we're making pasta ricotta. It's a really quick, simple recipe that you may have everything in your pantry or in your fridge. So when you're pressed for time, this is a great dish to make. So for the following, you will need pasta, ricotta, parmigiano, salt, olive oil, and black pepper. I'll have the full recipe at the end. We'll get the ricotta mixture ready. So for this recipe, we're going to keep all the liquid from the ricotta because you want it, you'll need it for extra creaminess. So we'll put it that low. You don't want it to stick or burn. Add a bit of salt. I find this recipe is really, really good when you're pressed for time, you're going shopping, or you just don't know what you want to have. This is such a really nice meal. So I'm going to add some parmigiano. It only takes a couple of minutes, really quick. There we go. That's ready. So we're going to put our water to boil for our pasta. Take a few minutes. Add our salt in. Our water's ready for our pasta. Okay, so I'm going to set the timer for 11 minutes. I like the pasta al dente, so let's give it 1 minute less. Okay, our pasta is ready. So I'm not going to strain it because I want some of the pasta water to make my ricotta a bit creamier. And also I would like to have, I reserve about a cup of pasta water just in case I need it. Perfect. Okay, our pasta's ready. I'm just gonna put just a little bit of olive oil so your pasta doesn't stick. And then we're gonna put our ricotta in there. If you wanted, you could add garlic, but you know what? This is a traditional way we used to eat it at home when I was growing up. Just mix it. And this is where pasta water comes in, because you want it a little bit creamy. So we're going to add some parmigiano. Just mix that in. It smells so good. That's it. And I'm going to finish it off with some black pepper. And of course, more parmigiano. And that's it. Comes together in no time. Okay, so let's give this a try. Look at that, nice and creamy. Very simple to make. So creamy. You could really taste the parmigiano and your pasta is al dente. So try this and let me know in your comments how you enjoyed it. Fresh basil here. Look at that, beautiful, it smells delicious. Wish you guys can smell it. Hi, thanks for joining. Today we're making fresh pasta ravioli filled with ricotta and spinach. So for the pasta, you will need flour, semolina, eggs, salt, garlic, spinach, and ricotta cheese. And also we're making a red sauce to top over your raviolis. So you'll need tomatoes, olive oil, Parmesan cheese, onion, and basil. I'll have the full recipe at the end. We're gonna start with our flour. We're gonna make our pasta. And you want to make a well. You can use a table, or if you have a cutting board, large enough, you could use that. You're gonna put your eggs right in the center. This is such an easy recipe, but a little bit time consuming, but makes such a difference. So you want to put some olive oil, and we're gonna put some salt. And you want to just mix your eggs, combine them all together. And then once your eggs are mixed well, just take some of the flour in and mix it in together. You don't want to break the well, because then your eggs are going to be rolling out. Now if you have a mixer, you could use your mixer and use the dough hook. That'll also work. Then you slowly incorporate your flour. You're going to use a fork for a bit, and then once it's combined a bit more, then you'll use your hands. Making homemade pasta is really simple, fast. It's really easy, but sometimes it is more time consuming, but the flavor is just so amazing. So once it's all incorporated, you're going to use your hands and bring the flour together. You can see it's nice and smooth. There we go. It's all ready. We're going to let that rest for 5 minutes. So our pasta is ready. So I'm going to cut it in 4. So I'm going to divide it in 4. So what I'm going to do is, I have a pasta machine that I'm going to roll my pasta. But if you have a rolling pin, or if you have the attachment to your KitchenAid, the pasta attachment, you could definitely use that. So we'll start there. I also have semolina and a tray. So I put a parchment paper on a tray, and I'm just going to dust it with some semolina. That's going to prevent your pasta from sticking. There we go. So here's the pasta machine. I have it attached to the table, your work area, but you could use your table, your counter, anywhere that you can tighten it and fasten so your machine doesn't move around on you. So I've put it on here, and also it has your thickness, and that's how you control the thickness of your pasta. So what you're going to do is get your pasta and just kind of flatten it down a bit, and then you're going to pass it through a few times because you want to smooth it out. And this is where you'll need some flour. Okay. Feel free to put some flour on your machine. So we're going to smooth it out on the largest setting. So it's going to stick for a bit, but once it goes through a couple of times, it smooths out. So again, there you go, it's coming together. There we go. So now it's a bit smoother. So what I'm going to do is just move 1 notch. So you're going to move it 1 notch at a time, which is going to make it thinner. So it's sheeting your pasta. Okay, so you've got it this thickness. So what I'm going to do is just going to cut it in half. It's easier to work with, right? Because you're gonna thin it out a bit more. So I'm gonna go down one more notch. Coming together, just run it through again, go down one. See how smooth that is? We're getting there. Run it through a couple of times, there you go. So once your pasta is ready, you're gonna put it on your tray that has your semolina. You want to press down and just go down one notch. You could definitely do this with your family and have a nice family night and make homemade pasta. There we go. Another parchment paper. Oh, this one's ready. There we go. Now once it relaxes, before you fill, we're gonna run it through the pasta machine one more time. Okay, so now that your pasta sheets are resting, we're going to mix our filling. Got the cheese. We're gonna chop our spinach. Spinach is so easy to chop because you could roll it any which way and just keep chopping. But if you have a blender or chopper, you could definitely use that. So make sure your spinach is nice and dry. I'm using fresh. But sometimes what I also do is I wash and dry my spinach and then I freeze it. And when I'm ready to use it, you kind of remove it from the freezer and just toss it in the bag, and it chops on its own. So that's a nice idea. Kind of saves your time. There we go. The spinach goes in. And we're gonna grate some Parmesan cheese. You wanna put a good amount. There we go. So also I use my zester to shred my garlic. Just zest it into very fine. 1 egg, some salt, and just mix it, give it a nice mix. They're all combined, and we're ready to fill. Okay, so our filling is ready, our pasta sheets are ready. Now we're going to put them all together. I also have a pasta cutter, and that'll make a nice design on them. So I'm gonna grab one sheet, okay? And I've put some semolina on the table or on your surface, so this way it doesn't stick to your pasta, doesn't stick to your surface. So I'm using a scoop, but you could use whatever you like. And not to worry, whatever dough is left over, we're going to smooth out. So I should have mentioned you need a little bit of water, and what you're gonna do is you're gonna just wet the outer of your pasta sheet, okay? Because you want the top and the bottom to stick together and not open up. So once you have a bit, you're gonna fold over, okay? And then you're gonna section, okay? Once it's all nice and together, you're gonna grab your roller, and you can make the raviolis as large as you like them. I like a bit of pasta, more pasta than usual, so I'm just gonna make my size. And just take off the excess. There we go. Okay. So I also wanted to mention, when you're rolling your pasta, in the machine. The thickness should be number 6 on the pasta machine. This way you know exactly the thickness, but if you want it thinner, by all means you can go to the next, which will be number 7 on that machine. You fold it over and just kind of tap it because you want to make sure the air is out, most of it anyways. Want to bind those together, and your pasta ravioli should be about 3.5 inches. So now that your pasta is ready, we're going to make a quick sauce. We're going to do a basil tomato sauce, and then we'll cook our pasta. And add our olive oil here. So we're going to saute our onions and garlic. Now you're going to add your tomatoes. Once it comes to a low boil, then you're going to reduce it a little bit more. You're going to add your basil. Gives it a nice flavor. Add some salt. There we go. This should be ready in about a half hour. We'll let that cook down. So once our sauce is cooking down, what I like to do is just add a pinch of sugar. That's all you need. That's going to take away your acidity. You don't want it sweet, you just want that balance. There we go. Okay, our sauce is ready, and now we're going to cook our pasta. Our water is almost coming to a boil, so we're going to add some salt. So our water is boiling. We're going to drop our raviolis. You don't want to put too many in there, and we're going to cook those for about 3 to 5 minutes. There we go. We'll put a timer on. Perfect. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to put them directly into my bowl. And this is how you want to put your pasta together, your raviolis. A bit of sauce on the bottom of your bowl. And then just keep adding some sauce, okay, because you don't want them to stick. Then of course, your Parmesan, so you're gonna grate as you go. You don't want to strain them all at once because they're so delicate. You want to place them. There we go. So we're going to drop our other pasta. There we go. I'm going to put around 8 of them. So now we're going to put some more sauce on top. We don't want to put too much sauce. And of course, your Parmesan. You can grate your Parmesan ahead of time. That's fine also. But I'm just using this method. Get your parm. Get our parm. Okay, well, last sauce. I have enough. And lastly, fresh Parmesan on top. For your top layer, you can put a lot. Your raviolis are all ready. We're going to top it off with some basil, fresh basil here. Look at that, beautiful, smells delicious. Wish you guys can smell it, but you'll have to make it at home. And just put anywhere you want. There we go, there you have it. Okay, so our raviolis are ready. They look amazing. They smell amazing as well, so let's give them a try. Delicious. Very good, very tender. You can see the ravioli has quite a bit of ricotta cheese with your spinach and just enough of your red sauce. So for the raviolis, I didn't do the regular sauce. I left it with the whole tomatoes and I kind of crushed them lightly. It just gives it a nice rustic feel to it. So this is an excellent dish to make for your family and also a nice activity to make with your kids. So if you really enjoyed this recipe, like and subscribe. Your support is encouraging. All the flavors, you can definitely taste the onions, the carrots, the celery, and of course the sweet basil. So definitely a must try at home. Hi, today we're making cheese stuffed shells. For this recipe, you'll need a box of your jumbo shells, fresh Parmesan cheese, ricotta cheese, fresh basil, fresh mozzarella, 3 cans of tomatoes, olive oil, spinach, 2 eggs, and garlic. So you're going to start by mixing your ricotta cheese with 2 minced garlic, your Parmesan cheese, your fresh mozzarella. At this point, once you've added your spinach, you can add your eggs and mix well to incorporate everything. It smells so good. I wish you guys can smell this. Just amazing. There we go. And it's all ready for your shells. So for your sauce, your red sauce, you'll need 3 jars of tomatoes. You need half an onion, celery, and carrots. So you can chop your onions. And this is going to add so much flavor together. I like chopping mine because it brings all the flavors nicely together. And to your sauce, you're gonna add fresh basil. 1 teaspoon salt. All the goodness. We're ready to add your shells to your boiling water. Not to add all the shells. I would do half of them. So I'm going to cook it for 11 minutes. Okay. There we go. So now you're all ready to fill your shells. We've got your pasta, we've got your ricotta filling, and you have your sauce. I chose a dish that you could pile just one layer onto it. So what we're gonna do is you're going to put some sauce on the bottom of your tray. I wish you could smell this. It just smells amazing. And again, when you cook your sauce for about an hour and a half, all the smell, just everything smells so delicious. So I just like to put a nice little bed of sauce. This is also going to have your pasta cook a little bit more evenly. Then what you're going to do is grab a piping bag. And again, I'm going to fold over your bag so you keep it nice and clean. And then you're going to fill your bag. Now you don't have to use a piping bag. I find it a little bit more easier, less messy. But you could definitely use a spoon, whatever you feel comfortable with. You want the opening just a little bit wider because there's spinach, there's mozzarella, so you want all that to go through. So then you grab your shells and you press in your cheese. Not to worry if there's a little bit of water. That's all gonna cook well together. Your sauce, your shells, your filling. And you can't beat the smell. I wish you could smell this. It's just amazing. Perfect. Now what you are going to do is now just put the sauce over top. And just cover it all. It's gonna add so much flavor. Once you're done with putting sauce all over, you could add Parmesan cheese. Okay. It's gonna give all that nice flavor. Amazing, look at that. So now, I like to always top it off with some fresh basil leaves. You can just put them anywhere, arrange them any which way. There we go. And then you're going to pop it in the oven. You're going to bake this for about 30 to 40 minutes. There we go. Oh, that smells delicious. Okay. So your pasta shells are ready. They smell amazing. It's a must try, that's for sure. Look at that perfection. What I like to do is always grate some fresh Parmesan cheese. And of course, you're gonna serve it with a fresh basil leaf. Now let's give it a try. All the flavors, you can definitely taste the onions, the carrots, the celery, and of course the sweet basil. So definitely a must try at home. You could also put it in a takeout container. It freezes well, and it also great to bring at a friend's house. All you do is put it in the container, put the lid on, and it freezes really well. So something you can do ahead of time and be ready for your next dinner party. Enjoy.